Recording started.
Talk shoes.
Recorded live.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you are listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable podcast. This is podcast number 527. My name is Eric Nelson. With me today, my regular co-host, Matt Longeth. Today's Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Matt, how's it going today?
Eric, I have to say I'm a little disappointed. I found out after a long talk with Norwegian officials, I unfortunately was not nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh.
So life continues on.
Yeah, you know, there's always next year. You keep doing that good work, buddy. I'm sure you'll get recognized one of these years, right?
But more to the point, sir, how are you? How are things out there? I understand that the color in the bay is a little different, a little askew. How are things out there, and how are you doing?
We're still burning, and the color of the bay is like a muddy orange. In fact, the color of the air, the Bay Area is muddy orange. It is 12 noon, and there is no sunlight. A fog inversion layer came across the Bay Area, trapped the fire smoke underneath, and literally we get no sun. It is in the middle of the day, and there is no sun, and it is orange, deep orange, like 9 p.m. sunset outside, middle of the day. So very, very strange. 2020, what can go wrong, right? we have a orange inversion layer here. So that's color of the bay is orange. Everything is orange, 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 orange. With that, we're just going to move on because it is 2020. We're going to be talking about vSphere and what's going to be launched over the next couple days. I think there's a big launch event we're going to tease up here. We have Bob Plankers. He's been on the show before talking about vSphere, Senior Technical Marketing Architect for the Cloud BU. We'll talk a little bit about that CPBU and the acronyms for all the BUs. I gotta unpack that with Bob before we get started, Bob. Bob, I know that I want to do a quick shout out to you and talk a little bit about the weather. I know you got an iPad app that actually shows like the plumes of what's happening here. Maybe we could share that on the YouTube channel. If you want to see this, go to youtube.com/vbarbecue and check that out. And that's kind of the plumes of smoke that are happening in the Bay Area. And it's like, geez, it's all the way up and down the whole West Coast, out in the ocean. Crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. I just hooked my iPad up here so that we can share it. But that's and that'll blow all the way across the U.S. in a couple of days probably. It's all of the rain in the middle of the U.S. is tamped it down here, but the smoke was across the whole place last week. So.
Yeah, that's interesting, and in fact that it's going to move across the nation, and I'm wondering why it's just circulating here, but we must just have some kind of front that's just staying here and can't blow across the U.S., right? Really interesting.
Oh, there's nothing. I don't have wind.
Yeah,
I'll have to find
weather app.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, very
Thank
cool.
you for having me on.
And that screenshot shows it all. You know, Bay Area just completely socked in with a huge layer of smoke. But more exciting things. VMworld's coming up. We'll do some key dates, and then Bob will talk to you about some of the stuff that is going to be talked about in the next week. I don't know what you can tell us, but we'll certainly talk about the launch event and cover some of the cool stuff that's happening with vSphere. Before we do that, we'll just get to news and announcements. The only thing I got for news and announcements is just, hey, VMworld's coming. So spring one is over. We did release the Code Connect website. So you can go to code.vmware.com and register for the event. The website is up on GitHub, and you can go there and look at all the sessions. We have 50 sessions up there. Plus we have, agenda at a glance, so you can see all that. And because it's hosted on GitHub, each of the presenters has a GitHub project that you can go check out their slides as well as their code when they upload it. So should be a cool 2-day event. We have Kit Colbert opening on the first day, and we will have a hackathon as well as a scripting contest. So some cool stuff happening Thursday and Friday, October 1st and 2nd. Should be a nice thing to have on that third monitor, and check out all the sessions that are going to be happening. And then, of course,
great bookend to VMworld, a great bookend.
Yeah, good bookend. I know that we have some of the VMware Underground stuff happening at the beginning of VMworld. I think V Brownbag's doing some stuff. And then shout out to last week's podcast. We did fix the audio and re-upload it. So if you happen to download that and get no audio after the first 7 minutes, we did fix that. And we talked to the Discord guys of a digital jigsaw or orbital jigsaw. They're going to be hosting the V community over on Discord with watch streams. So if you want to go hang out with the V community, if you're a V expert or anybody just wants to go hang out and learn a little bit about Discord, we're going to have Discord chat rooms up there. We're working with Orbital Jigsaw. That's on the last podcast number 526.5 for the fixed audio. You can go get that on vmw.re/pod. That's our podcast URL for the downloads, and go listen to that. And then if you want to, go get Discord, and you can go join. They have it up now. You can go join the Orbital Jigsaw environment. They have a VMworld accept terms, and it'll drop you into some of the stuff that's already happening. And I think they're going to launch a lot more of that in the next week. And then they should have the live streams where you can chat while you're watching the VMworld live streams. Having said that, I would say, hey, VMworld is going to happen the 29th through October 1st. Go register at VMworld. I think now we're up over into the 80,000 mark. So we're well into the 80,000s, and that's good. Where I think our target is 100. So we're coming up in the last couple of weeks. So bring a friend, register, and then once you register, if you want to go over to Discord and hang out and set up, but don't forget to register. That'll be important for everybody. And with that, that's all I've got. Matt, did I miss anything?
I think that you covered it all. Just again, if you haven't registered, please do so. September 29th. We kick things off. Some great sessions out there. I know the content catalog has been out there and available for a little while yet, but some fantastic sessions. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I think that some of the paid sessions are filling up. So if you're interested in workshop-led labs, hands-on labs with a workshop instructor, you can spend $299 and go, sign up for some instructor-led workshops. We got some of the stuff that we're running for the community special sessions that will be small, intimate engagements where we're teaching some code stuff. We have some interesting sessions there, and there's a handful of other meet the expert type environments that you can go for $299. I know they're still selling those, but some of the interesting workshops are starting to fill up. Not all of them, but there's a handful that will start to fill up. So if you're thinking about doing some of that extra stuff, or you want to do an instructor-led workshop, go check that out. And with that, I think that covers what's going to be happening. And we are only, 3 weeks away, or a little less than 3 weeks away. So it is time to go get registered and set yourself up, get your schedule built, and get that third monitor set up. Everybody, I see Bob Plankers. We had Bob on maybe 4 months ago in February. And I see that your virtual environment has shifted, Bob. So welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, just a quick elevator pitch, and then we'll talk about all the cool stuff you've done with your home office.
Sure. You're talking about VMworld here. That's actually, I'm wearing my VMware. I'm labeled as VMware today because I'm actually recording sessions. I've got 6 sessions in the catalog this year, and so I'm a technical marketing architect. I am a nerd in the middle of marketing groups and technical marketing. My job, I do security and compliance things. If you folks know Mike Foley, he used to do this job that I am doing. He has moved on to vSphere with Tanzu and the Kubernetes side of things, something new and exciting for him after 8 years of answering the same security question every day. And so now that's my job. My goal is to help people understand vSphere in context of security and everything. Us technical marketing folks also help our developers inside of the company and the engineering staff, the product management staff. We help them understand what our customers are trying to do as well. And, a lot of enablement outreach. We're often some of the first people to use a feature or figure out if there's a bug. We're called on a lot to, hey, is this a bug or is this working as designed? Sometimes the answer is both. Yeah, so we kind of sit in the middle of a lot of different groups, and it's kind of fun. So.
And my fun tidbit about you is that you come from Wisconsin, and I think you worked at University of Wisconsin-Madison for a while. And
for 23 years, I was at UW-Madison. I was a student there, and then I stayed, and I worked in IT. I led a team that did infrastructure stuff, virtualization. I've been doing VMware stuff since ESX 152, I think, is the one that we first installed. And so I remember laughing at vMotion the first time I saw it, and just, just silly that it worked and game changing and stuff like that. And so it's just, I've been around for a while. I joined VMware in the fall of 2018, actually early December 2018. And so it's been quite the whirlwind here, but I really like it.
And you work out of CPBUs, which is Cloud Products Business Unit. And so
Cloud Platforms, yes.
Cloud Platform, so that makes more sense. Okay, so, and the people that don't know these, is there a place you can go get description of each one of these? Because like CPBU, and SBU, you hear all these BU titles, and it's like, I feel like I'm a salesman and I got to make a map of who's who and what org they work for.
Yeah, you and I and Matt and Julia, we need to worry about all that sort of stuff. But the goal is not. There's a saying: don't ship the org structure, and we shouldn't. The customer shouldn't need to worry about that. But Cloud Platform Business Unit, we used to deal in just mostly vSphere and VMware Cloud on AWS and VMware Cloud on everything at this point. They're now the Cloud Services BU, and CPBU got merged with HCIBU, which had been previously merged with ISBU. And if you've ever seen the musical Hair, then the FCC rode the IRT to the CIA, and that sort of thing. Right.
I'm feeling better about this whole topic because every time I see a BU, I can't keep them straight in my head, right? So, but this is just cloud. This is cloud products, which are really just infrastructure products. vSphere,
Cloud Foundation, vSphere, vSAN. And SRM and site replication and stuff like that, storage products and things. And so we're all one big happy family now. And actually, it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of commonality between us. Instead of being one of 3 TMMs, technical marketing folks inside of CPBU, I'm now part of a team of 40, 50 people that are doing enablement and reference architectures and all kinds of stuff. And I feel like I'm at home. So and I can talk the vSAN, I can talk about the vSAN security side of things without stepping on any toes, because it's, I can do that now. We can talk about VMware Cloud Foundation. We can talk about vSphere. They can talk about vSphere. It's all good. And so we're rolling on a new site to that end. A lot of the different teams had different resources hanging out there. We're rolling on a new site, core.vmware.com, and it's technical marketing stuff, enablement things. We're building it right now, but it's up. And if you want to take a look at it, if people want to take a look at it, they certainly can. We're going to populate it more and more and more. We're putting new information up for the launch coming up here. Product announcements coming up next week, and then VMworld content will be up there, and all kinds of stuff. So core.
Well, I know that you put up a teaser. I was looking for the URL for it here while we're chatting about the announcement that's going to be happening. You guys are running a live event next week.
Oh yeah, that's on our blog, blogs.vmware.com/vSphere. So yeah.
Right. Go check that out and get yourself registered for that, or at least.
We're actually taking over the Boston VMUG UserCon next week, and that's going to be really cool. We reached out to them to ask if they wanted to do something like that with all of our product announcements and that. And I'm hoping the Boston folks are the actual users of the UserCon are cool with it. But it's going to be a lot of really cool stuff. There's going to be a webcast. Lee Caswell, the former VP of the HCIBU, now marketing VP for CPBU. He's going to be giving the keynote and talking. He's a great speaker, and I'm not just sucking up to my boss's boss, but yeah, he is a great speaker, and he's very engaging, and it's worth the time to watch. It's really cool. You can sign up for it. Yeah, like I said, blogs.vmware.com/vSphere has got the teasers
right there at
on
the
it.
top right left article. Can't miss it. Right.
Yeah, VMware vSphere on Twitter. On the Twitters, they've been retweeting it a lot as well. And so there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff coming out. I can't talk too much about it. I get in trouble if I talk about actual content, but it's going to be across the board. It's going to be, there's really interesting stuff. We're continuing to build out the products, sand down rough edges, bring features to the masses.
So, because we can't talk directly about it, I will ask it. So when we're framing this up, there will be then a new release. So is there going to be a new release? I don't actually know. How I assume, because we're talking about new features, there will potentially be a new release. Right?
I think it's safe to say that with the advent of vSphere 7, we're starting kind of a new release model that we haven't really publicized it yet. It's not a secret, but it's not, like I said, we haven't been advertising it greatly. I think we're still trying to figure out if it's going to work for us or not. But, the idea of 6-month releases, what's the right cadence for being able to add some features, being able to, there's, patch releases when there's bugs and things like that. There's monthly updates, and those have been happening, and you should definitely, if you definitely partake in those. I'm a big fan of patching, but these update releases to add features and things, we want to be able to do that on a more regular basis. This, wait for 3 years to get a new feature out to customers. No, we want to get it out to people sooner so that they can use it. They can give us feedback about it. That's really important. We're building feedback mechanisms into things as well, so that's easier to do. We've put a lot of thought into a lot of that stuff. And so it's exciting. Yeah. So,
right.
The 6-month mark, April 2nd was when the code dropped for vSphere 7 itself, the GA 7.0.
Right.
And so, you can do better.
Yeah, you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's a good answer. So we'll just do a shout out one more time. There's a vSphere 7, they're calling it launch event. You can go to blogs.vmware.com/vSphere. It's article right there, top left. And is it live streamed then? Is that so? It's happening at VMUG. It's live streamed, so you can.
It's live streamed. We're going to record it. We'll put it up in a place that people can play it again.
And they have a link there on the blog that says join us. I think so. Maybe not.
And that's the other thing too about some of the mergers and with the BUs is that we've got more assets now. We've got people in Europe and we've got people in APJ now, and that and so we're going to be trying to focus more, trying to involve the rest of the Earth a little bit more and all this stuff. So especially for prime time US sorts of things that don't fit nicely into APJ schedules and stuff, we'd like being able to record it and make it on demand. So
okay, I'm gonna have to get a URL for this article, because when I go to blogs.vmware.com/vSphere, I see learn about innovations with vSphere 7 launch. But that's a replay. That's one that.
Here I've got actually I'm in charge of the blog there. I need to fix that. Here I'll give you the URL. So
yeah, we can send people to the right URL. Because I'm looking at it, going, wait, it's not the right launch. But while you're doing that, let me think another question. Yeah. Oh, I know. I want to drill into. You say you have 7 sessions, right, that you're going to be talking about. So we're going to have to go through the checklist. So there you go. We have that. I will copy that and put that over on TalkShoe in the chat there.
Very cool. Thank you.
I will call that out.
Yeah, if you just go to the blog, it's one of the posts. So,
one of the
and subscribe to our blog while you're there, and to our Twitter feeds and things. There's We're going to have, I'm sorry to derail you. I just thought of something with the blog. So vSphere 7, the GA. So there was basically 3 weeks between the launch announcement and the GA of the code, which is a standard pattern for us. Every year, every time we do this, somebody's like, oh, where's the code? Well, it's happened this way for a decade, like it's going to keep happening. So there's going to be an announcement and then the code will drop at some point in the near future. And in that space, we're going to do what we did for vSphere 7, which is we're going to have a technical blog post a day on the vSphere blog about all the new features and all that sort of stuff. And we're going to do that again for the upcoming launch as well. So anyhow,
Thanks.
I'm sorry. You were
that was good. So we wanted to shout out that you guys have a big announcement coming. You can go to the blog and sign up for it. It's a live stream, and Lee Coswell will be there presenting. You're going to be in a VMUG. So again, if you're stuck at home for some odd reason in 2020, you just seem to be spending a lot of time at home. Hey, this is something you can go do, and you'll probably learn about some new features. And so that's worth shouting out. So back to VMworld, because we're also like to talk about what's happening with VMworld. You said how many sessions?
Oh, yeah, I think I've got 6 actual sessions, and then I've got a couple of TAM ones as well. If you're a TAM customer, there's TAM days, and so there's some special sessions and things like that. But yeah, so
how do you magically get that many sessions? Are you cheating?
I'm an idiot.
Were you the voter of the sessions? How did this happen?
My boss is the track lead, 1,
Right.
so that helps. But 2, actually, it's really interesting. If we were still constrained to the physical realities of
space,
of space, I would never have successions, because they always try to showcase the new things. There's a little bit of marketing, a little bit of demand, like
right.
a
little bit of customer, a little bit of everything.
How they make the soup that is VMworld is it's definitely sausage. There's a lot of stuff that goes in the grinder. But the fact that it's virtual, all of my stuff, by the way, got kicked out. Apparently, I'm not highbrow enough to warrant any of the paid stuff, which is great. All my stuff got kicked out, so I've got all free sessions. And you don't have to pay to see the stuff. My sessions are about certificate management, which plagues everyone in vSphere. Nobody loves certificates, but hopefully I can help someone. Securing Active Directory, I just recorded that, and I'll upload that after we're done here. I'm going to do the vSphere security update like Mike Foley always used to do. He and I did it in the dark last year. Moscone West had a power outage / fire alarm.
Yeah.
In the middle of our session, and I'm a loud guy anyhow. I've done a bunch of theater stuff in my past, and the laptop that we were presenting from still had battery, and then the floodlights came on, and so I just yelled to everyone, hey, if you want to stay until they kick us out, let's do this. And so and everyone laughed. I actually said that you can ask me anything now, they're not recording anymore. But and so people stayed, and then eventually a security guard came and asked us what the heck we were thinking. So we finally left. But we won't do it in the dark this year. But then we've got some other stuff. We've got some stuff about vSphere Trust Authority, which is a new feature in vSphere 7, trying to do a little bit better around trust. How do we trust our infrastructure and firmware and server hardware and stuff like that. And I got some, a few other things with PMs. I've got to talk with about compliance, other thorny topics. Nobody likes compliance, but if we can help people, help auditors understand it, the world will be a better place, and people will be a little less stressed in 2020. So I'm
beginning to understand that the blackout was you just creating an effect.
I'm done with this. Boom,
security session, right? You're like, when I have a black ops, look at what happened.
Well, availability is a big. People always think of security as just confidentiality, keeping your data safe, things like that. But InfoSec, there's really 3 tenets to it. We call them the CIA triad. There's also integrity, and there's availability. If a system, what use is a system to us if it's not available to us? So.
Right. That makes sense. And so, how many have you recorded? So these are all pre-recorded, just going to be running. So your VMworld's going to actually be easier. Are you going to be on chat at some point? How do they manage that?
So actually, that's been a big question. So the paid stuff is there's a chat channel and there's live Q&A, things like that. For the on-demand sessions, there's no chat. And so what I'm doing is I'm basically putting my Twitter handle in the middle of the whole thing. And if people have questions, just reach out, and so, yeah.
Bob, for our listeners, what is your Twitter handle?
Oh, it's Plankers, just Plankers, one who planks, Plankers. So the so that's basically going to be it. And that's, it's nice that there's that accessibility to all of that. These sessions will be recorded, they can be played on demand basically in perpetuity here. But the downside is if you've got a question, there's not really a Q&A. So
if you put your Twitter handle there, you could be getting questions for the next 3 years on that session.
Yeah, that's also the downside to it as well. But and it's all the same question over and over and over again. So, but it's good research because that's, if I'm getting asked a question, it means that they're Googling for something and can't find it. And so I need to create some content and make it searchable on the internet, and then I stop getting questions. So that's
and not to make you feel bad or anything, but I think that if you're a session that's in one of the live streams, which are free, the 7 live streams will have active chat going on for the live streams during the like when they live stream, but you have to be one of the sessions that are plugged into the live stream. So
and those are all like C-level folks doing demos and things like that. CTOs, CEOs, CIOs.
Sure. Make yourself feel better. Badmouth the CTO people, right?
No,
you don't get to be live.
It's good to be king, That's so it's all good.
So yeah, just to be straight, yeah, there are 600 sessions. Probably 400 of them don't have that, right? And then there are some number that they have selected for the events that they will have Q&A for people that didn't pay for the expensive one-on-one sessions or the small group sessions. Right?
No, just a level of accessibility this year to the entire world, the on-demand, and VMworld is truly a 24-hour-a-day operation this year too. And like my colleague Mike Foley was complaining that he's going to meet the expert session at 4 a.m. his time, and that's cool though. Like he wasn't really complaining; he was just complaining that he's going to have to get up. But we've actually been wanting to do stuff like that, and so having a forum in which we can do it and serve the entire globe is actually really cool. So
yeah, it actually has a lot of value, right? Like to your point of being able to add more sessions that normally wouldn't just get recorded and be available. There's these great topics to do, but because we're doing that with VMware Code, it's the same thing for the CodeCon event. We want another track. We have more sessions. Sure, we can make it's just another line in an agenda, and we have to have somebody that spins up the Zoom conference infrastructure, right, and puts it on GitHub. But the dollar amount to create another session is pretty low, right?
Incremental, and if you can keep that content around in some form, there's this long tail of people looking for this stuff later, because those code sessions are going to have lots of great examples, lots of stuff, and the VMworld stuff as well is, if it's searchable and people can go and find it afterwards, that becomes an immense resource for people trying to learn vSphere. We kind of have forgotten that there's all these people that are actually new to virtualization too. And, we need to get back to our basics in some form here. So,
well, the other thing is I always used to smirk a little bit that the original VMworlds in 2006, which when I joined, we were running, I would go to the session year over year and it was the same slides with a couple tweaks, right? But nowadays with the complexity of the products and the just-in-time delivery of so much more tech, to your point of, every 6 months there might be some new features that come out.
sure.
You just have to allocate this time to keep up, right? And to learn new features. That the acceleration of tech has happened and the cloud has developed that, delivered that, just-in-time delivery has delivered all of this, right? So actually spending time, watching videos and learning is going to be a key part of how to run IT going forward, right?
I agree completely.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So we have the VMworld sessions. You're going to as long as you hear and people are listening to this, what did they do to record your sessions? I hear weird stories like they sent a CIA van out and they, took over your house and came in and set up tripods and did all this. Take us through that. What can you tell us?
Sure. So there you had a few different choices. One, you could go to a mobile studio. And they actually were encouraging people to do that. It was a studio set up like a small, presentation room or whatever, and you just talk. You give your
So you're out of Wisconsin, and they're going to tell you to go. They're going to actually have these across.
They actually sent. So believe it or not, there's a bunch of us up here, and one of the vCloud, or not vCloud, the VMware Cloud Foundation technical marketing guys, Heath Johnson. He actually was. He asked me a couple weeks ago if I was doing the mobile van thing, because they actually sent one up from Chicago to the Madison area, and so that people could record. And so I did not. I've got pretty decent recording gear here because that's part of what I do. I webcasts and things like this. And recording YouTube stuff, whatnot. I think the only thing that I haven't been able to replicate, and I'm looking forward to trying it with this Blackmagic Mini switcher that I've got here going on right now in my iPad, is a light board, where you can draw the neon stuff. But beyond that, I can do everything here. So that was one option. Those are kind of the two spectrums. The other option is that they would send you a kit, basically, and it had tripods and a couple of laptops and all this stuff, and you could have it for 3 days or something, and then you had to mail it back, or they were going to send ninjas after you or something. I'm not quite sure, but I think most people pretty much opted for either the mobile studio or just recording at home. And a lot of us, I think the biggest problem people had was figuring out the backgrounds,
Right.
So.
And then they gave you a selection of VMworld backgrounds, and away you go. And you just did it with your own gear. So they had three options: your own gear, a kit, or a mobile truck.
Yep, that's those were the three options. There's some variants there, and then I think the biggest thing for a lot of folks is just they really want so whatever the platform is that they're using, and I'm not quite sure what the platform is for it, but they want my head, my talking. So what you see, like if you watch one of my sessions, you will see what you see here. This is going to be the what you see for my head. This will be one stream in one window, and then my slides will be in a different stream as well. And so we have to separate our audio and our video, and the video has to be two streams. The
so then I'm doing a picture in a picture. They're going to actually have a double stream kind of
they want to
player that will put one over here and then the slides independently in a different window.
Yeah. So they don't want us to do the picture in picture. They will do it. And I think part of that, I don't know if they're going to do captioning or what. They didn't ask us for captioning. I don't know if they're going to run that through an automated system or what. But there's those platforms, those content management platforms often have that sort of thing and handle a lot of that. So, I'm just going to do what they say. They've got pretty stringent guidelines. If you can imagine trying to wrangle 600 presentations and different recordings and file naming and all that, they've got pretty stringent standards for all that sort of stuff. And it's all due by this Friday. And so I've recorded exactly one thing now. I'm going to record 2 more tonight, and I'll do the other 4. I'll do 2 tomorrow and 2 Friday probably, and try to upload them faster than before midnight on Friday.
And if you want to go check that online, they're using a company called openhill.com. So Julia,
okay, cool.
You want to go check, they got some pictures up there, 1 or 2 pictures of people doing the recording. So
cool.
That's kind of neat. That's good. So
it is
one
neat.
done. Yeah.
So
you're 1 down, and you have all the rest to go.
I've got 6 to go. So and a couple of YouTube videos for next week. So yeah, I don't know. But my new office is quiet, and I don't want to mangle my camera setup here. But I just yesterday and it's out somewhere else. Had to take a little lunch break and go up to the local hardware store and get some spray adhesive. I've got Monoprice sells foam acoustic panels, and so my ceiling is it's half actually acoustic tiles now to try to cut down on the echo. And then I've got
Well, you almost sound too good for this podcast because our biggest complaint is our audio is horrible.
Good.
Yeah, so once you hit a certain level, you're not allowed to come here any longer. And
oh, okay. Well, let me dirty it out. If I open my closet door over there, you can hear my lab gear running, so that'll screw with it.
All right, so we have that cloud, and like we talk about cloud and VMC and AWS security. Do you get into cloud topics as well, or are you sitting looking at the data center running vSphere?
I'm more of an on-premises sort of guy. That's always been the case. But cloud, part of the deal with the VMware cloud stuff is that it is in many ways the same as the on-premises stuff, and that you can move back and forth. From a security and compliance perspective, there are some differences. And so, yeah, I talk about that from time to time. But mostly I stay on the on-premises stuff, talking about, a lot of our highest security customers are still not interested in the cloud all that much, and they want it in their own data center. They want to put armed guards around it and rabid dogs and things like that. And so and so those are the folks that I talk to a lot.
Any other good sessions you've heard about? If you were to go to VMworld and you have a couple that you go like, I would definitely go over and check this. Maybe it's all going to be security wonk stuff, but I have a feeling I should ask.
So the security BU, so talking about different business units, there's a whole track about intrinsic security, and that's our Carbon Black folks. They've got some really interesting stuff coming out. Carbon Black Workload got announced I think in Barcelona last year. And so there's going to be some news around that and some trials and things like that. So you should keep an eye on what they're doing over there, and a lot of good content there. The vSphere with Tanzu we're calling it vSphere with Kubernetes. We're just calling it vSphere with Tanzu now. It's kind of interesting. Every once in a while, VMware can't make up. Naming is just really hard. I'll just tell you, naming something is really hard because all the best names on the planet are taken already. And so figuring out what we wanted to call vSphere with Kubernetes and all that stuff, it's just vSphere with Tanzu. Look up the Tanzu stuff, and that'll make a little bit more sense in the weeks here before VMworld. Because it's on demand, a lot of the stuff you don't have to have a plan for your whole conference either. You can just watch it whenever. You can watch the live streams. You can pick up an on-demand session. You can watch something sitting on your couch in the evening, like whatever. And so there's a ton of great content. The vSAN folks always have great content. They've got a little bit of OCD about content, and it shows. It's really nice. They've got great stuff. There's there's just a lot of good stuff. It really is. VMworld, and the fact that the floodgates are open, that there's not physical limitations on the number of sessions anymore, I think really plays in the favor of, everyone benefits, minus the need to record them.
All right, so we'll loop back a little bit here because the title on the slide for next week's events, that's going to be in Boston, if you go find the URL, which I did, deliver developer ready infrastructure. So I got to assume that this is all kind of Tanzu related, and that we're just going to be talking a lot about that as well, right? Yeah, you just nod your head. Yeah, you're not allowed to say, but you can go to that
group. We've got this group called Revenue Recognition. We call them RevRec, and actually TMM has called them RevRecs lately, like T-Rex, as in come and jump on you a little bit if you leak information and things. And so one of the things that people should know, people that deal with VMware, you shouldn't have to know about our BUs, but it helps a little bit sometimes. You shouldn't have to know about our release schedule, but it helps sometimes. One other thing to note is that because of SEC rules, we're a publicly traded company. We cannot announce something. We have to announce something in the same quarter that we ship it. And so in our quarters, our year is not a calendar year. It's offset by a month. So our year starts on February and ends January 31st. And so, the quarter is, you've got November, December, January is Q4 there. So, everything that we announce, if we're going to announce it at VMworld, if we announce it next week, whatever, it's got to be shipping by the end of October, that sort of thing. So just stuff to keep in mind. But yeah, I don't want RevRec coming and chewing on me at all here. So I'll just
I
nod.
won't get you in trouble there. I'll move on to customers and COVID from Mr. Planker's experience, right? Like you have now lived. This has now been 4 or 5 months since I've talked to you last time. Do you get experience with customers? Do they still drag you in to meetings, but you're on Zoom when you talk about things? And we did announce earnings. We're not allowed to really talk after a certain day about earnings, but they were good. But one of the things
All right.
that Pat came on the earnings call and talked about is the transition from customers waiting on projects because they can't get into their data center, right? Little slowdown on that and accelerated on desktop. So I'm wondering, like, are people taking time to engage with technical architects to learn what they're going to do when they get back to work?
Yeah, well, people are learning how to get back to work. Like there's been this classic joke of it: is it the year of VDI yet? And the answer has always been no. In 2020, the answer is actually yes now, and people are getting back to work. They're figuring this out. I don't think work is going to be. I think the idea, people, when you see somebody saying that the idea of work has changed, I think that's absolutely correct. And so this idea of working remotely, we're going to find a new balance here. It's the pendulum swung all the way one direction here. And us humans are just not built for this level of isolation. But we'll find a way to get back to our offices and things like that. And but that's played into a lot of the upgrade stuff. We're seeing it with some of the vSphere 7 upgrades. People are considering it more carefully. They're looking at it. We're talking to them about stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. So it could affect your upgrade schedule, or does it
people are just a
accelerate
little,
even more time to plan?
yeah, they're just they're a little wary because one of my favorite questions to folks is, were you going to go sit next to your server while you were upgrading it anyhow? Usually the answer is no, and they'd laugh at it. But that's kind of the, like the idea that everything stops because I can't walk down to the data center and do whatever, but the flip side of it is people are starting to realize that if no one else is in the office, it's totally safe to go into the office, and so you send one person from the team into the data center. And so people are starting to work through that. And with a new vSphere release too, we're talking to people. There's a lot of people that there's this old mentality about I'm going to wait until the first service pack, whatever, and I don't particularly ascribe. I don't think that's as valid of an approach anymore because, well, for a variety of reasons. But what we're thinking is that after some of these product announcements coming out here, the first service pack, people will start thinking, hey, the .0 product, that they're the vSphere 7.0 scares people because it's .0, even though it shouldn't, because I don't know, there's a lot of stuff running through people's heads in 2020, and we're just trying to stay on top of it, and we're trying to get people to use their heads, think critically about what's going on, that the world didn't end, we're doing all right, we're trying to be safe, but again, you can send somebody into the office, you can, if you think about things a little bit, you can be safe about it. And
yeah, it is interesting because I have a rack with servers in it down in San Jose. Me and a buddy run a rack together, and we just put stuff there, right? So that we don't have to have servers buzzing. We don't run anything on it of any consequence. But every once in a while, the data center, sends us a nice happy mail going, you have to move cages, right? Or we're changing things in your data center. We have to move. And that one happened about a month ago where we did have to go in, mask up, and put some gloves on and go there and spend 4 or 5 hours rewiring stuff when they moved us to a new cage. And it was fine. By the time we were done, I'm at a vulnerable age. I'm almost 60, so I got to pay attention to these things, right? Like, and just be aware. But wear a mask, wear gloves, went in, and you got comfortable with it, and then you were just doing your stuff. And then you realize you really don't spend that much time in the data center, right? Like you have to have the ability to go in, right? But you don't really do that very often, right? And then you left.
No, and you shouldn't need to, set up correctly. You should have remote access. All of our stuff, all of our products can be upgraded remotely and things like that. And so it's a lot of it's just talking people through some of the new features and that people, we've got a lot of customers. One of the beauties of vSphere is that it's stable and it works and it just runs, and one of the things that sucks about it is it's stable and it just runs because people don't upgrade it, they don't patch it, that. And so, you know, a lot of stuff, people coming from like vSphere 5.5 and 6.0, there's been a bunch of changes there, a bunch of things. Life is a lot easier than upgrades are a lot easier than they were back then. And they still remember the upgrade from 5.1 to 5.5 was maybe had some catches in it. You know, the upgrade from 5.5 to 6 was tricky or whatever. We've smoothed a lot of that stuff out. And so it's a lot of it's just education, you know, and getting people past what they remember about the experience in the past and to what it is now, you know. So those are a lot of the conversations.
Engineers, the last couple of minutes of the show, we like to start looking forward, right? And I know that's hard to do because you're still recording sessions this evening, right? But has anybody in your world started to look at like beyond 7, like where are we going, right? Like,
oh yeah, we've got product plans out years and things like that. And so yeah, we're always looking at the future. We're looking at what our partners and what the ecosystem is doing. Taking into account, what do we need to do in order to make it easier for our customers to do things, especially in security? How do we add security in a way that doesn't impact people's or IT department staff time, things like that? How do we, how do we tread lightly on staffing requirements? How do we get people? We've got a small army of design people, UI and UX designers, the user experience designers, and getting them involved too. How do we? And you can see this a lot of the HTML5 client when we switched from the Flash-based client to the HTML5 client. People really hated the HTML5 client to start with because everything moved, and I was one of them. It's just you got to sit down and you figure out where everything went. But when you figure it out, you realize that somebody actually took the time to figure out how people use this product and lay it out in a way that makes sense for humans. And there's science behind it. There's all kinds of cool stuff there, and so being able to do that and the new features and all that stuff. Yeah, we're looking down the road and some of what we do. Yeah, there's always some reactionary stuff. Things will change. What's the Mike Tyson quote? Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, and so we've got plans and we've got, and then there's a reality on the ground. But yeah, I
got a network question. Before I do that, I think Matt might have a question as well.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I don't know how much you can go into this, but I saw from a blog post out there that you had from April of this year with a great new feature that I think that might be included, which was vSGX. Can you get into that a little bit? And we talk about some looking forward and next iterations and where we're all going with this and how that might be incorporated.
That's a great example. And so SGX is an Intel technology for creating a secure enclave, a secure region in hardware. And we're getting hardware. We're starting to see where hardware. So you think about the cloud and multi-tenant environments and things, and we trust the hypervisor and we trust all this stuff. But can we reduce our trust in it to reduce risk and things like that, and to cover ourselves if it's learned that there is a vulnerability or whatever? And so SGX is a hardware-based technology where an Intel CPU and an application can sort of conspire to keep secrets. And they keep secrets from the hypervisor, and they keep secrets from the hypervisor and the guest OS even. The application and the hardware are really the two things working. And there's a Ben Franklin quote from back in the day that, 3 can keep a secret if 2 are dead. Well, it's sort of the computing version of that. And there's some gotchas there. If you're cutting the hypervisor out of things, you lose like vMotion, you lose some stuff. But the containers, a lot of times, they can model around Kubernetes, and containers can work around a lot of these things. And the hardware assists are really cool. We were also on stage with AMD last fall when they unveiled the Rome CPUs, their Rome line of CPUs, the EPYC, second generation EPYC CPUs. And they've got some technologies like this SEV, Secure Encrypted Virtualization, and SEV-ES, Secure Encrypted Virtualization with encrypted state as well in the CPU itself. and we announced future support for that as well. And so these technologies are really cool because we're getting the hardware to help us with it. One of our architects actually keeps sort of dreaming that we could take an ESXi host using these technologies, put some guest VMs on it, and drop it in the center of a conference somewhere, virtually, I guess now. But we always talked about dropping it in the center of like DEF CON or something like that, with the root password taped to the front of it, and just ask people to recover the secrets from these applications running in there. They shouldn't be able to. And that's a huge thing for trust in the cloud. It's a huge thing for trust in general. And so really interesting space there.
Yeah, that does sound interesting. That would be good. My question one was on hardware. What was Intel and AMD doing from a hardware perspective, which I think you covered, and then two, networking. Right. I mean, I know you're in CPBU, but which doesn't include networking. But I think in the end, you guys work hand in hand because a lot of the security really comes with the networking layer as well.
Yeah, so networking, we have to deal with networking as well because CPBU deals with the distributed switches and the standard switches and all of that sort of stuff. NSBU, they do a lot with that as well. They do a lot of the firewalling, NSX, and routing and advanced stuff too. But networking is a huge area where we need to do more. We need to do more collectively. My team, we need to do more collectively about education and things like that there. And so there's really interesting stuff there. Networking is not well understood by a lot of sysadmins and vSphere admins and things. So kind of going back to the basics, we're looking, we actually, one of our newest technical marketing folks on our team is kind of dedicated to networking and looking at what improving that, talking more about that, the capabilities there, the security options there, firewalling. I don't know. That's a whole, we could talk for a year and a half.
Yep. All right. Well, coming up to the top of the hour, you're going to be at VMworld. Do you get to go virtually do any other events? Are you virtually going to be at the Boston VMUG and then going throughout the rest of the year? What does your rest of your year look like? We always ask.
I think it's pretty boring. When I signed up to do this job, I there was a certain amount of travel with it, and I kind of liked that. And I don't get out as much now. It's better for the family time, but I think they even at a certain point want me to go somewhere too. But so I'm probably not getting out. I think so. October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and here in the U.S. And so I think I'm going to do I think they've got a theme for each week of October, and so I think I'm going to do maybe 3 or 4 webinars about security and virtualization and things like that.
That's what I should ask you. I should just ask you, where's your virtual avatar going to be for the rest of the year? Because we know no one's leaving whatever den they've created at home.
Yeah, no, I'd love to get out. I miss talking to people. I'm just extroverted enough to miss, to miss getting out and talking to people and that. And so but yeah, I'll be in the chat channels for the Boston VMUG UserCon, answering questions if people have questions. I don't know for VMworld. I might just sleep through the whole thing and catch up on my sleep. But we've got a new security guide. I took over the vSphere security configuration guide from Mike Foley, and I need to finish that up and publish that for vSphere 7. And so I'll be working on that during VMworld and things. And so
I'll send you some pointers. There's this thing called TweetDeck, and you can create search forums, and then you can sit all day and just sit and watch all the VMworld tweets that are happening. Right?
Yeah, I could do that. I'll probably do a little bit of blogging during that, some recaps and things. I did that last year from the conference itself, and that was a dumb idea. But doing it from here actually might work out just fine. I think vStogies. In the community, vStogies, we're going to host I'm trying to work with Todd Skelzett and Matt Lead and those guys. Yeah, to smoke a cigar. And I think I'm going to haul a camera out to my fire pit and put that on Zoom. And so I'm hoping that there's other community stuff. I don't know what is going to be out there, but
go check out Orbital Jigsaw on Discord. They're going to have a whole environment there. It might be a good place for you and fellow people to go drop by and say hello, because that's where the V community is going to hang out. And that and Twitter, right? I think you could, be on Twitter and engage there. Should be a lot of fun. And with that, we just have a few more minutes left. Tony Foster, I hear you've got a barbecue plan for next week. I'll give you the mic, and then I'll loop back to Matt, see if he has anything to finish us out with.
Awesome. So I'm planning on grilling a tiki marsala. So grilled chicken with a marsala sauce. I'm gonna try it and see how it works. See if I can do it without actually having to cook it in the pan. Cook it
Nice.
on the grill.
Nice. I did some more steak. My wife got me some super expensive steak. I don't know what it is. I should have wrote it down. And what I learned is the super thick ones, you got to put charcoal in your Kingsford. I have just a Kingsford charcoal grills, traditional round one. Do half. Just put charcoal in half, and that way you can sear for 2.5 minutes on each side, and then pull the meat off and let it sit in the open half, right, that doesn't have any charcoal under it. Put the lid on it and let that temperature bake and smoke for another 4 minutes, and then make sure you have a temperature gauge, right? If you want to make good steak, don't let it go above like 135, 140 in the meat. And surprisingly, once you sear it on both sides and then put it over and put the lid on, that thing gets done in another 3 or 4 minutes. You got to be, and then set your iPhone alarm for every 2.5 minutes. So every 2.5 minutes you flip it, right? And then your stick barbecue thing monitor, just get one of those probes with a digital probe on it, put it in and watch it. And you cannot mess up your nice steaks either way. And just depending on how thick the meat is, you don't have to pull it off the half. If it's a thinner cut, you can just do a 2.5 on each side twice, and your steak's going to be perfect. And if it is a thick cut like these were like probably 3 inches thick. They were super tall. You gotta pull them off and let them bake in the other side of the grill and smoke for a little bit. So that's the V barbecue. Even in COVID times, I'm actually getting tired of barbecuing, because I have just every night we're like, well, we might as well barbecue another piece of something, right? So we've been barbecuing. Bob, Matt, I'll throw it over to you. You want to close us out? And Bob, thanks a lot. Yep, Matt.
Yeah, thank you again to Bob. If you're out there and listening, in 6 sessions that Bob has at VMworld this year, as you're looking through the session catalog, if you search for Plankers, Plankers, you'll see all of his sessions out there. They start with the HCP and start up in the 2000s, everything from vSphere and AD, certificate management, security and compliance news you can use. Great content, always some of the great stuff that's out there, some really well-attended sessions that now you can watch on demand, and at Plankers on Twitter, I believe. So Bob, thank you for being our guest this week, and we look forward to those sessions, and best of luck with getting the recordings in.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate being on, and good luck with the barbecue. Good luck finding. I'm getting the Instant Pot out tonight, so it got cold up here, so we can get those sorts of things out.
I harvested some grapes. I have grapevines on the back of my property, and I have like 40 or 50 pounds of grape. And there is a recipe that you can take the grapes, crush them, add some sugar, add some yeast, and you pour the whole mess in an Instant Pot, and you Instant Pot it for 4 days. And it makes wine. The yeast and everything under the pressure grows, and you can make a super fast wine. And given that I don't really want to spend a lot of time making wine, but I have grown grapes in the back now, I'm gonna. They're the classic Midwestern grape. The ones you can't eat with the seeds in them. They're just
Concord grapes or whatever. Yeah, those sorts of things. Yeah,
you have to make something with them because you can't eat them. So
I get that.
I'm gonna
Terraform deploy with wine. It's an API call. It could be a thing.
There you go. With that, everybody have a great rest of your week. Stay safe and happy. And we'll be back again next week with vRealize Automation. They're doing some releases as well. And we're looking forward to hear what they talk on the 15th at the Boston VMUG to talk about vSphere. Lots of announcements coming up. We'll see you again.